Welcome to It Happened on the Job, our podcast for, what is it, Relatable? Yeah, man, 25 episodes in, and I'm still not got that down. Relatable conversations with contractors that hopefully bring a little bit of entertainment to you as well. Our guest today is Tyler Marsh, owner of a Revitalized Bath and Kitchen.
Hey, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Tyler. Appreciate it.
All right.
So give us a little backstory, a little history, kind of how you got started in this industry and the road to where you are now.
Okay, well, in a nutshell, I grew up in San Diego. I went to Arizona State for the 5-year plan, got my degree. I tried to get into banking when all the S&Ls were closing. So I decided to take a different path, which was more on the hotel and restaurant side. So I lived in Mammoth for a while, year round. I lived in Maui for a while, and then got serious and got married. Those
are some fun places to live, though.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I miss it a lot, actually. Met the woman of my dreams there, got married, and then tried to get into mortgage banking and moved to the mainland, California. Didn't work out on 100% commission. 100% commission of zero is
especially when you got a
good
family.
Reason to,
those are easy when you're single, but those structures, those payment structures are a little bit difficult when you got a family.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, newlywed.
Yeah.
It was brutal. So my wife was working in apartments, and one of the vendors they had on property was doing bathtub refinishing and countertop refinishing, real specialty trade.
Yeah.
And I always like working with my hands, and it was time to make a change again. So I signed up for the boot camp that Hard Tops provides. Hard Tops now is based out of North Platte, Nebraska. And you go and do a boot camp for a week long and dive in, learn a trade in a week with all the, experience from the guy training you. You get 20 years in 1 week.
Yeah, and all hands on, I'm sure, too.
All hands on, yeah. So I did my training in Lubbock when there was a different owner of Hard Tops, and moved to San Diego. No jobs, no customers, just a little bit of training, and just went for it. So moved back down to San Diego from the Bay Area where it wasn't working out. My wife got a transfer to apartments down here, same company. At the time, it was called Archstone Communities, which was gobbled up in the downturn of the economy about 10 years ago. Yeah. And so I started my business, owner, operator, specialty contractor. I worked towards getting the license, got my license, and then decided to not do it all by myself anymore. And, that's when you start building a team around you.
Yeah.
So that was back in 1998 when I started the business and did the boot camp. And about 3 to 5 years later, I started adding people. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since.
Oh, I'm sure. Where are you guys at now as far as, kind of the scope of your work and the size of your employee count there? And
yeah. So many years ago, we became a full service contractor, full kitchen and bath remodeling. The only way I was able to do that was to bring on people who were better at skill sets than I am.
Right.
So where am I at now? We have about 7 or 8 employees, and then myself also. And we're doing full kitchen and bath remodeling in one division of the company. And we're still doing bathtub and countertop refinishing for another division of the company.
And so
which
when
is
you
why
guys,
there's all those names in our company name.
Yeah, you're not alone there. We have, it kind of helps you, and I don't want to say recession proof, but it helps you kind of spread out that liability when something hits, that you've got a few different things you can do.
Yeah, for sure. The diversification in the types of work we're getting has been life-saving more than one downturn of the economy. The recession-proofness of doing bathtub refinishing and countertop refinishing, more people call me when there's a downturn with that kind of business than when all things are, butterflies and bunny rabbits and people are remodeling their kitchen and baths. We also have some diversification with doing restoration work. We're doing a lot of the putback after the ServPro, ServiceMaster, some of the other restoration companies get a hold of the insurance work. They'll bring us in and turn us over the folder, and we'll carry it through to the end of do all the
finish
putback,
the reconstruction.
Reconstruction. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's huge in the economy too. I've got contractors down the street who are closed because residential's come to a screeching halt. We're as busy or more than ever right now.
That's awesome.
Well, and I got to imagine too, when there's a leak and ServPro comes in and tries to fix everything and all that mold, that whether or not there's a recession or, COVID-19 or whatever, people need a bathroom, they need a bathtub, they need a shower. And so that's a good way to keep that business rolling as opposed to just doing aesthetic stuff here and there.
Yeah, the residential jobs is what I call those, where it's very economy driven. It's mom and pop wanting to remodel the kitchen. That's dead right now.
Right.
Yeah. So
are you guys self-performing when you guys go in and remodel something? Are you self-performing all of that from the demo to the reconstruction? Do you guys have specialty trades that you guys sub out, or?
We're a mix, just like our customers use us as a mix. We are a general contractor, but we also come in as a subcontractor for the reconstruction. So on the flip side, when I have the primary contracts, I have my in-house crews, and you have to use subcontractors too.
Yeah, just because like you said, it's you're not great at everything, right? So you gotta find those guys that are good at what they do. And
that way, with the workload goes up too, I can still take care of customers and do the jobs by implementing subcontractors into the works. Yeah.
So from an employee standpoint, you said you got 7 or 8 guys now. How are you finding them? Or is there something? I mean, you said you went through that boot camp. Is there something? Obviously, I don't imagine you have something that sophisticated set up. But is there some sort of training process that you're putting them through, or are you finding guys with experience, or would you rather have them not experienced? I know there's a lot of layers to that, but there's a lot of layers throughout.
My favorite way to find people is word of mouth. Kind of the guerrilla marketing style, ask around, who knows who's looking for. That's the best, because then you got somebody who's backing them up.
Right.
The blind hiring through Indeed or Craigslist or running an ad is brutal.
Yeah.
But you have to do that too. So, with varying success, we've had applicants come in. The worst part of that is everybody oversells themselves. So it really doesn't matter what in my opinion, after all these years, it doesn't matter what the resume says. I can call and everybody's going to vouch for them. But when it gets down to it, you got to try them out. That's what it ends up coming down to. You got to try them out, keep a close eye on them, and make sure they don't get you in too much trouble in that process.
Yeah. No.
What does your training process look like when you bring on somebody new?
Well, that's a good question. For the refinishers, it's a little more detailed. Okay. Because not a lot of people have that trade experience. I've gone through a lot of just fresh training with that. Although the last guy came on with a lot of experience and I put him to work after 1 week of training. But with the remodeling crews, I have one main project manager. And what he does is he's managing all those projects for me. Personally, I'm not managing the the big remodeling projects. I got someone better than me doing that.
Right.
He expects guys coming in who are competent. He's not doing any training. He'll occasionally, ask questions and make suggestions and be constructive with criticism. But essentially, he doesn't have time to train employees either. So we're hiring people with experience, and they better have the experience that we're looking for, or they're going to be getting in trouble, or they're going to be calling every 5 minutes to my project managers, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Have you been, I mean, you said with varying levels of success, been able to find guys with enough experience that fit what you're looking to do?
Flip a coin. Flip a coin each time if it works out. No, we have not had great success at that. One of the biggest challenges I see with that is we're trying to hire the all-around guys, the one who you can hand a folder to do the remodel, and they can see it through. And if they have a need for a subcontractor, of course we hook them up and get somebody in there for them to help. But Rod expects to be able to hand a project folder over to them, and they take it and run. Now, that doesn't work all the time, and real quick if it's going to work or not.
Yeah.
Because they call with 100 questions, or they move forward and take care of it.
Yeah. So for you guys, it's more of a let's hire the guy that we can vet out as best we can, and then keep an eye on him and make sure that we can pull the trigger quickly if we need to make it.
Yeah. As a small business owner, I can't afford to hire one painter, one plumber, one electrician, one drywall. I can't do that. So I need the guy who can go in and do it all.
Yep.
Those guys are really hard to find these days. Everybody's being trained in one trade and they're pursuing one trade. So it's a challenge. It's a big challenge.
What are you seeing for the future? Are you, and especially kind of right now with the situation we're in, from a job bidding or kind of your future forecast, are you seeing stuff kind of slowing down or on pause, or are you guys still seeing yourself grow?
We've been working straight through. When all the shit hit the fan, we let 3 of the employees stay home until we could regroup and, assess what's going on. We brought 2 of those guys back. I've had a couple of employees refuse to come to work, even though we're classified in one of the
essential
industries. They don't see it that way. So there's been lots of challenges through the COVID thing, but we're working straight through. We're hiring. I just hired a bookkeeper. My previous bookkeeper decided she didn't want to come in during all this. I mean, we got to keep moving forward, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
After all of this is done, or somewhat back to normal, I think there's going to be 2 kinds of clients, residential wise. There's going to be the ones that want to move forward and do work. And just like out in social media, there's the people who are freaking out, and you're going to have to be prepared to address those clients with facial gear and your disinfectants and whatever else that, they're going to be requiring. And then there's going to be the people who don't care. And like, I've gone to estimates over the last couple of weeks, and I'm trying to be respectful, but they're no mask. They're intruding on the 6 foot. I'm stepping back into the wall.
No, there's definitely varying levels of mindsets when it comes to this, and it can't be easy to navigate, especially when you're seeing so many different people and so many different mindsets on a daily basis.
Yeah, one of the surprising things through all of this is an associate in the industry started using a form that he's having everybody sign with what he perceives as legal liability release form for letting us in their house, and you won't sue us later for thinking we gave you the COVID thing.
Right.
I'm not going that far.
I mean, we've all been in California long enough that we know that that's not going to hold up regardless.
Right.
Regardless. Yeah. You're just making everybody more scared by doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there might be something to it too. Who knows?
So you said that the residential stuff, the remodel stuff is kind of coming to a halt. Where are you guys getting most of your work right now?
Most of the work is through the restoration and the reconstruction. We have 2 projects that are still going on right now. One we started last week. That is a residential project. Obviously we're doing multiple projects, not one at a time.
Yeah.
So we have 2 residential projects and maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of the reconstruction restoration projects on the remodeling side of the business. The apartments expect us to be there whenever they need us for the bathtub refinishing side of the business. So we've been going straight through with that too. But there's been challenges with that too. The senior communities that we do business with have closed us out.
I was going to say they probably don't want anything to do with you.
They don't want anybody in there. Yeah.
100% closed out. But then, there's other customers who want us there every day for their vacant units. Then there's other customers that will not do any more occupied units. So it's a mixed bag. I'm treading water to try to keep up with what everybody is.
All the different regulations, and who wants what.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So go ahead. I was just going to say, so I mean, where do you see kind of are you comfortable with like the track your business is on, or do you see yourself kind of pivoting to anything else or shifting anything else, or maybe new construction or anything like that? Or
that's a loaded question.
We like loaded questions.
It's a tale of 2 worlds. It's the best of times and it's the worst of times. Let's just put it like that, because I'm grateful every day and thankful. So in that one respect, it's the best of times. But I'm always not satisfied where I'm at with the business. And part of that is due to a situation in 2017 where I caught my bookkeeper stealing, which ought to be one of your segments for warning contractors. They better be looking over their shoulder, not extending that trust overwhelmingly to anybody. I got really burned. I'll be paying for that for years to come. But the real anchor to growing the business, in my opinion, is strong office person. And then you got to be able to sell the projects, and then you got to be able to have the people to do them. So I've thought I was there and close to taking steps back out of the business and going into semi-retirement and letting the machine of the business operate on its own. And then all that shit hit the fan with the bookkeeper stealing, and I almost went out of business. So I'm constantly right now since 2017 in rebuild mode.
Right.
So I don't have a dedicated salesperson. My project manager is doing it all on that remodeling side of the company, and it's a lot. So where do I see myself in the future? Continuing to grow. I'm not there yet. I'm not one of the guys you may have interviewed who's got all their ducks in a row.
You're normal. You're normal.
Well, and you got to go through those steps, right? I mean, you're not going to step out and start a new business and be able to have the systems in place to grow to a $3, $5, $10 million company. I mean, there are steps you have to take. So I mean, I guess to that point, I mean, I applaud you for taking those steps, right? Because there's a lot of people that in your shoes would just say, hey, I want to get to $5, $8, $10 million, and they just go and overextend themselves without having those systems in place first, to make sure that you're doing it responsibly and manageably. So yeah, I
partially did that. I partially overextended myself. I had 2 shops before I closed them down. I was about $2 million 2.5, 3 million a year before all the shit hit the fan. And then I went down to 100,000.
Just cut it all back. Yeah. Go lean.
It was so hard, so stressful, and almost thought about getting out of the business altogether, do something else. But the freedom, the flexibility, you get what you put out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd ever get that again if I went to work for somebody. So I've just been plugging along, trying hard to stay alive and keep it going and rebuild, constantly in the rebuild mode, in that mindset.
So is your wife still in apartments, or is she helping out with the business, or?
She went from being a leasing agent in the apartments to now she's a regional portfolio manager for a big REIT company out of Chicago. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to help me because when she got into that type of position many, many years ago, then there's you can't do business with family members.
Right. Conflict of interest stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The conflict of interest stuff. So we've kept our businesses separate, but she runs 8 properties in San Diego, and she has her own sets of challenges. She doesn't help me at all with my business except help me stress over it.
So outside of the situation with COVID that we're in now, think back to a few months ago. What are some of the biggest challenges you face kind of on a day-to-day? And I know we've kind of spoke to a few of them, but is there something that just stands out that you're like, man, this is my biggest headache or hurdle that I got to get over on a daily basis?
It's the people factor.
Yeah.
It's not the clients. And my project manager tells me all the time, Tyler, it's not about getting the business. There's plenty of business out there. There's plenty of work. I could go get more work. I just need more people.
Yeah.
And so, his first year coming in with me, he went through 13, 14 people, and we couldn't hold on to anybody.
High expectations, huh?
Yeah. And so I think I tempered his expectations with people a little bit, not trying to, accept everything about everybody, but at least give people more of a chance, give people, you got to get rid of them if they oversold themselves and they can't do the job they were hired for.
Right.
But he's a little more understanding with people now, a little bit more, not flexible, I don't know the word to use. He's a little more understanding of situations that come up.
Empathetic, maybe.
Empathetic, yeah. But still, the challenge is people.
Is that a skill issue or is it a competency issue? Meaning, are they just, they've oversold themselves and said that they could do a certain task or trade and they really cannot? Or is it, more just in terms of timing, or they just didn't show up to work, or they were an hour late? Or what are some of those issues that you guys are dealing with?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with expectations. The expectations we have of them do not match the expectations they have of us.
I get it.
So they will spend too much time on a task, as an example. My project manager will check in with them daily and he'll be disappointed. So his expectations aren't being met. Then when my guy is giving tasks to the new guys or the guys, unfortunately, we're not putting together a super detailed project folder for them to come in with. A lot of it is figure it out on your own, for better or for worse.
Right.
And so their expectations of us is, hey, you're not giving us enough detail. You're not giving us enough information. You're not giving us yada, yada, yada. Project managers expecting them to try to go to the store once instead of 5 times for each project.
Yes.
So being organized is also part of the expectation that's not being met.
Yeah.
People are coming in and they just fly by the pants, one task, one phase, one thing at a time.
Right.
And if they thought through the project a little better and a little farther through, they'd be able to go to the store for that next task.
Yeah.
And they'd have all their stuff waiting for them. These are just some examples. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
I gotta imagine I gotta imagine that's a challenge, especially probably specifically to what you guys do, just because every project you're walking into when you're doing kitchen and bathroom models is different on some level. Obviously, I mean, there's a toilet, there's a sink, there's a whatever, but I have to imagine that being that every single house is probably plumbed a little bit differently, or this way or that way, or the cabinets or whatever is being done. I mean, I'm sure that's part of the challenge, I would imagine.
Yeah. I love the projects where I can set loose a few competent subcontractors and be done with it. Not even use my own guys.
Yeah.
In fact, my project manager thinks that's the direction he would love to go, is just sub it all out.
Find a few subs that you're trust. Yeah.
And just bring in all subs and just write, just do the writing of the projects, and that's it. Write and sell and supervise minimally. But I don't think that's realistic. I mean, you got to have your own in-house guys to be able to respond and timely take care of people, right. Especially for any of the callbacks or issues that come up.
Yeah, it's hard to control a lot of that stuff when you're not in the project daily.
Yeah, I can imagine with those apartment buildings that require somebody to be on the spot. Yeah. You're at the beck and call of the subcontractor. It could cause issues.
Yeah, the subcontractors, not so much for apartments. They have their own subcontractors. Okay. I can't go downhill anymore.
Right.
But with the residential projects, easy.
Right.
Yes, it's pretty easy to get subs in there and manage them through the project. Same with the reconstruction a little bit. If we get the folder and get to control the project, then we can do that. But it's already the pie's already been cut 2 or 3 times before we get the folder. So there's not a lot of room for the markup of a subcontractor and still make any money. So having our own in-house guys working by the hour, and if they're doing it efficiently, that's where we can make some money on the reconstruction stuff.
Right.
In terms of like the Serve Pros and those restoration companies, are they hiring you? Are they always coming back to you guys on a regular basis? Meaning, I saw on your website you talked about that pretty much all your business is referral based. So I'm imagining that some of these companies are trusting you on a daily basis to come in as well as the apartment complexes. Is that part of your repeat business model prior to COVID-19?
Yeah, I would agree with you and disagree with you on the last couple statements. Okay. Yes, our business is, I would say at this point in my business cycle, right now, it's probably 75% of my work is all referral.
Got it.
But if you go back to 2017, at the peak of my success at the business, we had a very strong website, very strong marketing. We were paying for marketing. We were paying for SEO. We were paying for the YP.com. Don't ever do it again. I wouldn't. But we were getting a lot of unknown customers from social media, from Facebook, from Yelp. Yelp has been a very big growth
contributor
to my business in all aspects, with refinishing and with the remodel, with blind leads, like they're not referral.
Right.
So all of that has been very integral to where I'm at today. And I still get calls from the website every week. I still get, leads. But
you're not actively going after those or cultivating those, right? Like you were before.
No, and not paying for SEO anymore. I'm not paying for any marketing. When my world came down around me with that bookkeeper stealing, I cut off everything. That's when you start getting to bare bones again.
Yeah, go lean. Yep.
Go super lean.
Yeah.
So I was closing the shops. I was closing down any monthly expenses and regrouping.
Were you working with the restoration companies back then as well, or is that a new business model channel that you guys went after 2017?
I would say it's more integral now after 2017, when I brought on my newest project manager, who's been with me since that. That's been the majority of his projects is with the relationships he has in the industry. That's where he came from. So he's got contacts and leads from that. But we were doing restoration work before all of that too, but it was a much smaller percentage.
Right. Well, it makes sense too. I mean, if you're going lean and, trying to keep things tight, the business model goes after something where you are working with people based off a reputation, right? So you're continually putting out good work, and then you have those guys continually coming and hiring you again and again and again, as opposed to spending thousands and thousands of dollars in marketing and SEO. And it's a good plan, especially when you have to go super tight and super lean, like you guys had to back a few years ago.
Yeah, I think it's an integral part, but you can overspend on that. I mean, it's so hard.
They'll take your money quick.
Yeah, and even with all those really cool tracking, online cloud-based tracking that YP.com has. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I mean, the statistics and all the data is overwhelming, really, and I wasn't tracking it probably like I should. And it was impossible to really see if you were getting a cost benefit out of it at all, to be honest.
So, well, and it can probably become a little bit overwhelming to look into that stuff, or you could probably go down a rabbit hole to a situation where you're focusing more on that rather than the work you're doing, and getting those referrals. Because I mean, I'm sure you've realized, and obviously, but that referral that comes in is 10 times more likely, or whatever the number is far more likely to be a good client that's going to pay you, that's going to get work, or give you work, versus somebody that's just calling and might be looking for just the best price that they can find out there.
Right. No, I think my background has really helped build the referral side of the business, just because of the customer service that I've grown up in, and over all the years. And then I still maintain my real estate license, and I'm all of the stuff they train you on building a real estate business is very
applicable. All marketing too.
Yeah, very applicable. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Any fun and exciting, weird, wonky stories from the field that you can share with us?
Tons. I remember one. I tell this story quite a few times. It's a little bit raunchy, so kids.
It's okay. We're explicit.
Yeah. We're listed as explicit on the podcast.
So yeah, I mean, I consider myself a specialty contractor. I still occasionally have to jump in and do a bathtub refinishing.
Yeah.
And I remember some years back, occupied unit, got to jump in, take care of the customer, apartments. And I go, and the lady answers the door and says, "Oh yeah, come on in." Da-da-da. I'm on my knees. I'm looking at the tub. I'm on my knees. I'm starting to prep the tub with the sanding and masking. And she comes in and sits down on the toilet and starts peeing. Right next to me.
While you're in there, huh? Just no shame.
Right next to me. And I kind of looked away, and I'm very liberal in some ways, but I'm also very conservative in some ways. And I was like, "Do you want me to leave? You want me to go out of the bathroom?" "Oh no, it's okay. I'll be quick." And it's like, Okay.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
Shower too. Yeah. So that's a funny story. But the shocking story is, the people who don't want to work right now, they are going to be really in for a shock when they are looking for a job and
nobody's hiring.
20 million people looking for jobs and changing industries, going from restaurants to this or bartenders to that or whatever. I mean, I can't believe, and that's the most shocking recent story I could share with you, is I've got employees that won't come to work.
Yeah.
Like the media and the hype has gotten to them.
Yeah.
And, I've always had an empathetic, perspective. You don't want to force anybody to work. That's just asking for problems. So, part of my demise with them is I left it up to them. Hey, the work is here.
Right.
If you're willing to come to work, I got work for you. But if you don't want to work because of all this crazy, scary stuff going on, I totally understand. I'm not going to force anybody to work. But it just shocks me that people are choosing not to work right now, because when they go back out looking for the work or trying to claim the unemployment insurance, I'm going to be telling them I had work for them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if EDD is going to be granting their request for.
Right. Yeah. No, I think there's definitely a sense of, hey, it's easier not to work right now. Some people think that's the case, but like you said, I mean, when everything opens back up and everybody else needs to find jobs, it might be a little bit tougher, because I think that there's a lot of people out there that have found a way to go a little bit more lean, whether it's, working from home, allowing people to work from home, or maybe letting those people, not come back or whatever. And like you said, you're still finding a way. So when those people come back, like, do you need them? You know what I mean? Like, you've been doing what you're doing without them. Like, do you need this? So, and you're not alone there. I think there's a lot of companies that are in that situation. So, I mean, it's in multiple industries too. So it's definitely going to be an adventure to kind of see how that plays out.
I obviously have an optimistic point of view always, and I really see some opportunities right now and moving forward in the next weeks, finding those all around perfect employees that were absolutely, you could not find them, 3 months ago. These other small businesses that are 99% residential work have closed their doors. They don't have it right now. Nobody wants them in their house. Well, those employees, I think, would be out looking for work when ordinarily they've been working for the same guy for 10 years, or, they all of a sudden have been displaced, and they are legitimate, good, options for.
No, that's 100% true. I was actually just reading an article yesterday about, the amount of qualified employees and the workforce that's been laid off, or that's out there right now, because, like you said, other companies have shut down, or for whatever reason they don't need them. This, from a hiring standpoint, like you said, these next few weeks are going to be huge for anyone that's able, willing, or kind of, pardon my French, but has the balls to hire right now. There's some quality people out there, and I would definitely recommend not jumping at the first couple, because I feel like, you definitely have the leverage here to find some quality people.
Right. But again, you're still in the same boat we talked about earlier. You got to try them out to really know, I haven't got over that hurdle. I mean, maybe I'm not the best hiring manager or the best human resource person who can weed out the bullshit. But I haven't found a way to find out unless you try them out. Yeah. I don't know a way around that, but I'm very optimistic that we'll be able to find the people we need and want now.
Right.
Now, not 6 weeks from now, they'll all be taken or they'll all be working again. Yep. But I'm pretty optimistic on that. As far as 6 months ago, 12 months ago, we all know, you guys know, I'm sure, how hard it is to find the
good labor,
the quality labor,
quality labor. I even had one of my project managers a while ago say, I give up. I'm not trying to hire anybody anymore. Seriously, he gave up. He's like, he had such a bad attitude that he was saying to me, and I was shocked that he was saying this, like, dude, you got to change your attitude right now. But he was giving up. He said, the only people looking for jobs are ones who can't hold down a job. Yeah. The only guys looking for a job are the ones who are cheating on their time cards, which we found some guys doing that, clocking out early, clocking in late, so he had such a bad attitude with the people who were looking for jobs in the job market. He gave up for like 3 weeks until I was able to,
give him a little pep talk. Yeah.
Focus really in on that for him, and found some referral based people, and we hired him, and now he's happy again a little bit, but
it can definitely be disheartening.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. So just kind of on a personal note, what did you do in the restaurants? I was in restaurant management for about 8 or 10 years. So,
well, in college, valet parking, Panama Jack, by the poolside in Scottsdale, Arizona, rubbing on the trials for the old ladies who, and then that works into room service jobs at the Hilton or the restaurants. But when I graduated college and was trying to get serious about life and get a banking job, no one was hiring. SNLs were closing. So that's when I really started focusing in on the, hotel and restaurant. So I went
hospitality,
Yeah. So I graduated. 6 months later, I gave up on the banking, and I applied for a job at the ski resort in Mammoth. And I was the only guy that showed up to the mass interviews down here in San Diego with a coat and tie. Everybody else was kids with shorts and flip-flops applying for the ski lift operator jobs. And I got into the hotels up there and, started as a night auditor, skied every day, got a cross-training experience in group sales, in the accounting office, in the reservations, front desk, concierge, had the personality for the concierge, and then did that for a few years year-round, and then decided with a girlfriend at the time that, hey, it'd be kind of cool to live on the islands too, ski resort to the islands. So I went and moved to Maui with a backpack and a mountain bike. And again, the guys interviewing me were laughing at me showing up with a coat and tie to an interview, but I got hired
in Hawaii.
So, yeah. So, the joke's on you. I got the job as a bookkeeper, and then the bookkeeper job lasted about 6 months because I was seeing all the money that the bartenders and waiters were making.
Especially at a resort,
And I had the personality to be a waiter. So, got back into the food service and helped open I worked for TS Restaurants, which is Chemo's is the flagship restaurant. And then I helped open up one of their new restaurants. They went on a opening restaurant frenzy for a while there, and ended up opening up Hula Grill on Apolli, and then went back to Chemo's. And then, the girl of my dreams was all of a sudden with her tray ordering drinks at the bar, and I was like, whoa. So that's how that led from one thing to another, and then we decided we wanted to make a family and get serious. And then one of my clients, I call them my clients, it was a guy who would come out to Maui every year, twice a year, 3 times a year. He owned his own mortgage company in Danville, and he said, hey man, anytime you're ready to start getting serious on life and leave the restaurants, give me a call, I'll hook you up. So I got my real estate license by studying and doing the online stuff from a hammock in Maui, and then tried to do the mortgage loan officer thing. And I learned the mechanics of it and learned some of the sales, some of the marketing and networking type sales that you gotta do.
Yeah.
And that's my restaurant experience.
That's funny. I always tell people that I think that kind of like a driver's license where you got to have that permit for about 6 months or whatever it is. I feel like everybody's got to work in a restaurant for about at least 2 or 3 weeks, because it's an important piece of humanity when you have to serve people and be on that level.
Oh yeah.
Do it with a smile on your face.
I still have waiter nightmares every once in a while. Where
in the weeds.
Yeah. Where Chemo's was turn and burn too in Maui, and you're trying to get something, but something's not working,
and it all snowballs and goes downhill. Yeah.
Oh man.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Yeah. Well, we'll let you run. Before we let you go, we want to give you an opportunity to kind of plug yourself, get your website, phone numbers, emails, whatever you want to, however the people can find you.
Who are the people listening to your podcast?
All the people. We don't look into the analytics too deeply, but I mean, at this point, a lot of it is contractors or somebody in the contractor space. So my assumption is that if you do get anything out of this, it's going to be one of those bigger guys looking to hire you to come help.
We have restoration companies.
We've actually interviewed a couple restoration guys. So
there you go.
Yeah, there are some connections out there to be made.
So the only words that I would put out there right now is if you're in business for yourself, and a lot of people who are in business for themselves find out that they don't have the skill sets or the ability to run the business.
Yeah.
Come on down to San Diego. We'll hire you, and we'll help each other, get along. And, so yeah, I'm hiring. That's my biggest flag I'm raising. I'm hiring. If you got all the skill sets to do it yourself, come on down. We got a spot for you.
What's the website?
Website is for the remodeling is arbathandkitchen.com, all spelled out. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Tyler. We appreciate the time. I know it's, like you said, it's busy for you, so we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler.
Okay. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
We'll try to catch one of your podcasts in the future when.
Perfect.
Yeah. Things maybe calm down a little.
Yeah, right. Awesome. Sounds good. Stay safe out there. Appreciate it. Thanks, Tyler.
Okay. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Tyler.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.